Today we're going to learn about the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is a formula that we can use to solve any quadratic equation, which is wonderful. So we don't have to factorize very difficult equations anymore because we can just use the quadratic formula. So if we have a trinomial in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and we make it equal to 0, then we can solve for x with the formula minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now this may seem like a very complicated formula, but it's so useful you are going to learn it very, very quickly. Now just remember, a quadratic equation has two solutions, and that is the reason for the plus and the minus in the middle. So you'll get one answer by going minus b plus the square root over 2a, and you'll get your second answer by going minus b minus the square root over 2a. Pause now so you can make some notes. In example 1, we've got the trinomial x squared minus 4x minus 5 is equal to 0. I've chosen a trinomial that we can factorize, so I can just show you that the quadratic formula does work, but it is quite a bit longer. So if I try and factorize this equation, I need numbers that will multiply to give me 5 and subtract to give me 4. So x minus 5, x plus 1 will be my factors. And I get two really easy answers of x equals 5 and x equals minus 1. So if I can factorize an equation, I should. It's much shorter. But just to show you that the quadratic formula really does work. In our example, the value of a is the value in front of x squared, so it's 1. The value of b is the value in front of x, so minus 4. And the value of c is the constant at the end, so minus 5. And we substitute them into our formula. At this stage, you can type this into your calculator. I'm just going to do it manually and take a few more steps. So minus 4 gives me plus 4. Minus 4 squared is 16. Remember, you are squaring the negative as well. And then minus 4 times 1 times minus 5 is 20. So 16 plus 20 will give me 36. And now to get my two solutions, I'm going to first use plus. So 4 plus the square root of 36 divided by 2. And then 4 minus 6 divided by 2. So 10 over 2 is 5, and minus 2 over 2 is minus 1. So I do get exactly the same answers, but it's just much longer. But it will be useful for other questions. Pause now and take down this example. In this example, we're going to solve for x, leaving our answer in surd form if necessary. In other words, if I get two answers that are some common fractions or integers, it's not necessary to leave it in surd form. So only if surds come up. First thing you're going to do is try and factorize the trinomial. So I need factors of 1 that will subtract to give me 3. Now my only factors of 1 would be 1 and 1, and they don't subtract to give me 3. So in this case, the quadratic formula is my only option. In my example, the value in front of x squared is 1, the value in front of x is 3, and the constant is minus 1. You can just substitute them into the formula, and you can use your calculator straight away as long as you show us that you have substituted into the quadratic formula. And if you type this into your calculator, you're going to type it in with a plus before the square root. And you're going to end up with minus 3 plus square root 13 over 2. It's not necessary to type it in again with a negative because where the plus is just going to be a minus. So you can just add the minus into your solution. Pause now so you can copy down this example. In this example, we are going to round off to 2 decimal places if necessary. Again, if you get an integer or a common fraction as your answer, that is more accurate. It's only if you have more decimals in the question. In this example, we've got 3x squared plus 5x minus 7 is equal to 0. And these are the trinomials. We did learn them last year, and we revised them at the beginning of the section. And they're difficult to do because we have to find factors of 3 and factors of 7, subtract to get 5, and they're just really difficult. So in this case, using the quadratic formula will definitely be easier, even if it is a little bit longer. So in this example, We're first going to try and factorize, but as I said, that's difficult. So let's go straight to the quadratic formula. And in this example, A is 3, B is 5, and C is -7. Right, you may use your calculator, just show the substitution of the values into the formula first. So we end up with -5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 3 times -7 over 2 times 3. And if I type it into my calculator will go to thirds straight away. Now, how do I get it to 2 decimal places if you don't know already? If you have a look at your calculator, whichever calculator you've got has got an S to D button, thirds to decimals. And if you just push that, you'll get your first decimal answer. And if you round off correctly, you should get 0,91. Now in this case, you can't just add a minus to the value in front of the square root or a minus in front of the 0,91. You're going to get a different answer. So what you have to do is use your circle button and go back up into your fraction so that you can change that plus into a minus. And then again, you'll use your S to D button to give you your second decimal answer, which is -2,57. So your answers don't necessarily have to be plus and minus the same number. In fact, most of the time they will be different numbers. Pause now to copy down this example. Let's try one final example. Again, if necessary, we're going to round off to 2 decimal places. We've got a trinomial, and again, you really should try do this if you have a quicker method. So we could take the factors of 4, which are 4 and 1, or 2 and 2, the factors of 3, which are 3 and 1, do a bit of cross multiplication, but we know from experience that these are difficult and often take a little bit long. So I'm going to go straight to use of the quadratic formula. In my equation, A is equal to 4, B is equal to 5, and C is equal to 3. And we show substitution into the quadratic formula. Now if I type this into my calculator and I push equals, I get a mathematical error. Does this mean I've done something wrong? No, it doesn't. What it does mean, though, is you're asking your calculator to do the impossible. So let's take this quadratic formula and just see what exactly about it is impossible. Why can't the calculator do it for me? So in a few more steps, I end up with -5 plus, then under the square root, 5 squared is 25, and -4 times 4 times 3 is -48. And if I go 25 minus 48, I end up with -23. And it's because of this negative that I'm getting a maths error. It's because I'm asking the calculator to do the impossible. We cannot find the square root of a negative. In other words, there's no real solution to this equation. So in a test or exam, if you are typing into the calculator and getting maths error, please do not write maths error as your answer. That's not the answer. It's just your calculator telling you that there's no real solution. So no real solution is the proper answer to this equation. It's time to try some on your own. Thanks for watching Max Maths. If you liked what you saw, please like, share and subscribe.